been for the respective sensor points that are bringing data back to me.
Interesting.
Now, that's the code part. Let's actually get into the app and see that. Let me just go ahead and sign into this. And this, I've put that together in the form of a Windows app. Where I have a particular map which is showing me where exactly the individual trucks are. Right, so I see them on the road, and then I've embedded on top of that my specific depot points, so that if there is something untoward happening, I should be able to guide them to the individual depot points.
Interesting. Right? And this is again real-time data coming in.
And this is all real-time data coming in. So the shading that you see on those trucks are actually predictions coming in from the ML piece that I just showed you in the code. So anything that's green, my ML algorithm predicts that nothing's going to happen. They're on course. That's perfectly fine. Anything that's amber, my ML algorithm predicts that there may be some risk if the continued trend is kind of kept up.
Got it.
Right? And then anything that I see in red is like my ML algorithms trying to prompt me that, okay, you need to take some action on those items right now.
Okay.
Right? So
let's again shows the power of the real-time analytics, like before the thing spoils, like you can actually take some action.
Exactly. So just the case of like predictive maintenance, etc. And I see one truck over here which is shouting out red to me right now. That means ML is predicting that the data in this is going to get spoiled, right? Now, just to understand why that's happening, I also have like traffic information embedded within the app, and this traffic information is actually also coming real time. So all of that is being sourced through something like a Big Map API and being processed back into my bolts onto the ML algorithms. And in addition to that, I also have a look at the weather data. So if you look at the weather data that's coming across, I've gotten the data that's publicly available and I've embedded that onto the map. And this data is going back onto predicting some of the happenings that are going to happen on that particular freight management truck over there for me.
Nice.
And if I look at all of these dashboards, these are getting populated with data that's coming in real time from my Storm bolts.
Wow.
Right? In addition to that, I also have these alerts created, and I have some social and weather data coming across directly onto my dashboard. So I could look at what the weather is like over the next few days. I could look at if there is any news that is letting me know that there could be something untoward on the course of any of my trucks. I am looking at something like Twitter sentiment coming back to me saying, okay, traffic on 605 is crazy, avoid that route.
Nice.
I'm catching all of that real time. Now let's go back to taking some action on that. So now I know that this particular truck is actually going bad. So I can come back here and say, okay, Tony Smith is the driver. I know there is a driver operator for them. Let's go ahead and contact them and take some action. So now I see that this particular truck has all of these sensor points.
Wow.
And these sensor points are throwing in some data back to me. For example, this one is a temperature sensor that's throwing me a red unit there. And it's showing me that, okay, the sensor indicated that the temperature is above the threshold limit it should be. So you see the spike over here? That's what it detected, and it's gone red since then. And it's telling me that go ahead and take some action around it. Now, if I want to go ahead and take some action around it, I can just come here and create a task. Let's do that in a moment, but I just want to make sure that we see that all the data that's coming in, I could go ahead and merge this with reference data as you had explained. So this is actually coming in from reference data where I have the owner-operator's details with me. So the truck driver's there. I know he's the owner-operator for that truck driver. I cannot contact the truck driver directly. I need to make sure this guy knows what's happening with his truck. Right? And then I have all the real-time sensor data. So if you look at the data hub over here, you will see these values changing.
Wow.
And this is actually coming in from real-time sensor feeds that are being sent across to my Storm topology. Again, when I look at taking some action, I could just come here and say, okay, create a task. And it's going to show me a more detailed view of what was happening in that truck from only the information that I collected and processed from there. And I have the ability to kind of tag it together with reference data to know, okay, what is the weight of all the freight that's getting spoiled, and what is the value of all the freight that's getting spoiled.
Wow.
So this is merging real-time data with reference data in a way where you can add more business value in a single pane of glass. Right?
Yeah, this actually shows you all the theory we have been talking about. This actually shows it coming it together really nicely.
Absolutely. And then, of course, I mean, this is the device's ecosystem. So I could just go ahead and say, okay, go create a ticket, divert the driver to another route, request maintenance for that temperature sensor, and make sure that there is other transport available as well. And then I have a button which would just go ahead and notify the driver as well. And in this case, I actually have a Windows app, Windows Phone application sitting in the driver's phone. And that driver gets a notification saying, okay, you've got this kind of a diversion. And all of that is integrated with something like Cortana, so that the driver doesn't even have to go ahead and look away from his screen. He can just listen to voice commands coming in from Cortana. And now that I have already taken action for that truck, I don't see that red truck here anymore. So that's vanished for me.
Nice.
Right?
This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is it something which we can package as a sample, so people can just use it as a starting point? Because I'm sure there are a lot of scenarios either exactly the same or similar people will have, and they would love to have this fully integrated solution.
Absolutely. We're definitely in the process of making this available as a sample for Storm and how to integrate it in an application. We'll make sure to point it across to the right set of folks who are attending this MVA as well.
Pretty cool. Nice. I love it, Nishan.
Well, that's pretty much all that we wanted to discuss today on the Storm Essentials part. And this being the final module, I just wanted to touch up on the Visual Studio pieces as well on my screen right now. So yeah, the way that we made it all easy with Storm and HD Insight is really in essence to what value Microsoft adds to the overall open source ecosystem, and how abstraction is implemented so that we can all concentrate on the core business that we do rather than the intricacies of administering a Hadoop cluster or the individual Storm elements in there, right?
Nice. Yeah, I love it. Like basically, as you said rightly, like the key thing over here is take an open source technology which is already proven and widely used, and then bring it in and then run it as a managed service, so you don't have to worry about those things, and then provide the right programming model and integration with Visual Studio so that people have a really easy time going and building apps on top of that platform.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Asad. I know it was a long day for all the attendees here, so I'm sure it's been good learning throughout the day. This was the last module that we had for big data analytics with HD Insight, and we discussed Storm. We'd love to hear feedback from all of you on what you liked and what you'd love to see more from a big data perspective on the Microsoft platform. Thanks to all the presenters for bearing with me throughout the day, and thanks Asad for driving us through the Storm piece of the Big Data with Analytics MVA. Yeah.
Thanks, Nishant, for having me.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.